Hello, everybody. When you join this meeting, can you mute yourself, please? Because there will be so much noise. Okay. How about my voice? Is it clear enough?
Yeah, clear now.
Okay. So it's already on time. Uh, First, I need to, on behalf of Sundray, to welcome you to join our serious product training. So today it's the session one. Our topic is about the highlight features of Sundray Smart Switch. Before we start, here are some tips. If you have any question during the presentation, please type your question in the message chatting. Yeah. Our colleague will help to um, reply your question. The second one, make sure the email you registered is correct. Before we have sent the invitation and need to register it. So you need to keep the email address is correct. Later we will send you the training material via email. Also, after the training, we have the online exam. We also will send this address and the account and password to your email for you to attend the exam. So please check again about the registered email whether it's correct. The third is in order to guarantee the lecture experience, it's recommended you to use a PC client or the mobile app to watch our presentation. Okay. Next, let's check our training agenda and the competition rules. Our serious product training will from today to this Friday, every day this time. So different day we have the different topic. Today it's the highlight features of Sundray Smart Switch, and our presentation will about 1 hour. And after each day of training, there will be after class test. We will send the link to your email. And at the end, the top three scores of all the tests will receive 500 yuan as a gift. So you need to listen the presentation carefully because if you finish all the tests and the score is good enough, you can get the gift. Actually, we will change this 500 yuan to the exchange to the local currency. Don't worry. Okay. Our today the content it's about the four parts. The first part is the first view of Sundry switch product and the network structure. The second, it's about the corona background analytics. We will to analyze the problem now and the coronavirus. The third part is about Sundry highlights features. In this situation, how Sundry Smart Switch can help to solve the problem. Fourth, it's our Sundry Smart Switch successful cases. Okay, let's go to the first part. So, what kind of switch Sundry can provide? In the product list one, it's about Sundry S series switch. This is developed by Sundry R&D team, and it's a leading modular switch. So this switch can be customized. You can decide it how many the main processing unit and how many the line processing unit you need. It can customize. Just depends on the project requirement. In the product list one, this is Sundry RS Smart Series Smart Switch. This one can be used for core distribution and the access layer. Also, it supports PoE and optical port. It can cover most of scenario. For the start, this is Sundray access switch. Usually, this product is more suitable for SMB scenario. This one is about Sundray switch network structure. Sundray adopt the SDN design, and we divided our network to the two parts. The one part is the platform layer. The next part is the network layer. In the platform layer, we have integrated all the control, just like the unified authentication, the device management, and the edge security, the variable maintenance. All of these functions will be integrated in the platform layer. It's our controller. You can use the controller to manage the switch and to do all of these things. And for the network layer, all this switch focusing on the data forwarding. So with this design, the configuration will be more easier. You just need to configure all the settings just in the controller, right? So the next part is about corona background virus. As you know, now the situation in every country is not good. So many governments already gives release some laws to limit the user to work at home and not going out. So, but how the engineer to maintain their network? Before they have do some deployment. Maybe some projects they are using the separate deployment, and the remote diagnose are not available, and few methods to make devices online, and it's difficult to manage. Also, for the traditional way, there is the high requirement for the technical team because you need to know the command to configure the devices. The configuration will be also complicated and not visible. For the security parts, now ransomware virus and the security incidents occur frequently. The risk behaviors more and more, and the internal network are not secure. So all the problem now it's hard to solve. The platform difficult to use. The network structure complicated. So how Sundry can help in this situation? Because our business will still going on. We need to reduce the face-to-face negotiation, right? Because the coronavirus can be spread just by the air. So we need to reduce the face-to-face negotiation and reduce the on-site support. And as soon as possible to reduce the project implementation period. Because if the period is so long, for example, you can do it 1 week, but actually it needs 1 month. And then the infected risk will be more high with the long period. So then I will introduce you about the highlights. So how with the features Sundry can help. The first is the fast deployment. Sundry Smart Switch fast deployment can help the user to deploy our switch and discover, approve online, and configure quickly. Greatly reduce the time for switch to go online and improve the efficiency of network projects. deployment. The first, we have multiple methods for switch discovery. Actually, just like the our switch, it's similar with our access point. We just need to connect the switch and then just like discover the access point by layer 2 broadcast or by DNS or by DHCP option 43 or by web agent. So the switch will be online easily, and then after we discovering the switch, we just need to approve. And uh, if you have so many devices, we can batch approve the switch in different group. And finally, when you approve the switch, all of the switch will be online, and then you can to manage all the devices just in the controller. So for the remote deployment, we just need to remote access to the controller, and then we can manage all the switch. For the finally, it's a multiple configuration method, smart network topology, visible configuration panel, and FAT-FIT switch integrated interface. Both of them can help to fast deployment. The first, multiple methods for switch discovery. Here it supports layer 2 broadcast and DHCP option 43, DNS static IP discovery, and the web agent. So the switch which be discovered will be shown in the switch status, just like the access point. How many access points? How many access point online? How many switch online? It will be shown here, and it's flexible and more easier to discover and approve it to make the switch online. The second is the creating a switch online method. Only need to connect the cable. Switch management center will generate a smart network topology map, and then we can batch configuration. For the traditional method for deployment, there are many steps, and it's complicated and low efficient. But with Sundray SDP, Sundray Discovery Protocol, with this technology, it's more easier to deploy the devices, connect cable, discover and approve, and then it will generate the topology map. Let's go to see how the Sundray Discovery Protocol works. As we know before, when the switch online, when the switch be activated online, it will establish an control tunnel between our controller and the switch. So at this time, we can, with our tunnel proxy technology, we can make the switch and make the controller work as a proxy. So the other devices which connected in the same layer 2 environment will be discovered, because with this tunnel, with the control tunnel, the switch will not only send its status to the controller, it also will send the topology around. For example, here there is a gray switch. It's a SW55 CDC3. This device is inactivated, but it's connected in the layer 2 environment. So the switch SW58, this one will send the topology around to the controller, and the controller will discover this model and then to approve it. So it will be activated online. With this tunnel proxy technology, the discovery and the approve will be more will be more easier and more efficient, right? Because in the whole network there are so many switch, and each switch will send the topology around to the controller, and then with this topology, the controller will discover it, and then to generate a whole topology map. Later we will see the smart network topology. So for the first deployment, the batch discovery, approve, and configuration. Here are some pictures. We make the screenshot from the web interface about the switch discovery, automatically discovered by multiple methods, and batch switch approve. And the next is batch switch configuration. So here, the smart network topology. Actually, this is a new feature. If you want to try this new feature, you need to upgrade your devices now. As I said, each switch will send the topology around to the controller. So the controller will know the whole network topology, and then it will generate a topology map just like this. With this, all the devices will be shown in the network. And also the topology map supports 4 status, online or offline, or maintenance status or inactivated. Also, it can support to show the basic status, just like the link aggregate, the mlag, the stacking, or link backup. Also, it supports the user to activate the switch to manage the devices just in this map. You can configure all the devices here. And also it supports to show the offline switch to show the shadow in the topology. It means the switch when it's offline, it won't be disappear. You can still see the device is here, but it's green. If it's offline, then you can repair this. It also shows the RS switch, the code switch, and the network access controller. But it not supposed to show the access point. Well, we need to inform that all the access points will be shown here, because actually in one project there are so many access points, and there is no enough space to show access point. In this map, it also can show you the alarm. For example, the devices, if it has some problem, it will give you the alarm, and also show you the link type and the status in the map. The next is fight fit switch integrated and the monitor mode. So what does it mean? Here I just give you an example. Before, a customer, they just buy one switch. They just buy one switch, right? And they use the switch as the standalone mode, and they config by web interface or by the command line. They use it in the fight AP mode, fight switch mode. But actually, as the business grow more bigger, and they have added more switch, and then they want to use the controller to manage all the switch. So, but now they want to use the controller to manage the switch, but they don't want to lose all the configuration. So how to make it? First, they need with With this fate switch integrated interface, uh, the user they change the FAT-AB mode to fate switch integrated interface to this mode, and then uh, with the monitor mode, the devices will be online to the controller, and you can manage it. The configuration won't be lost. So the fight phase switch integrated interface is the mostly same web interface with the fight AP, but actually it's still fight AP mode. But though it has the web interface, it's still the fight AP mode. This only used to be activated by the controller. Switch can be activated by the monitor mode. The configuration in the fight phase mode won't lost, and the authentication, the edge security, the configuration you configured before will still works and won't lost. Next, it's more problem diagnose methods. The first is layer 2 tunnel repair status. We have new added the switch repair status. By the layer 2 tunnel technology, use the neighbor switch and the controller itself as a proxy. The configuration could be delivered in this status conveniently for uh, um, management and maintenance. So the value point, it's no need to on-site diagnose. It's easier for a remote bug with this layer 2 tunnel repair status. The second one is fate switch integrated interface. The offline fate switch, when it's in the monitor mode, it's fate AP mode, but actually it has the web interface. You can use the HTTP and switch IP to log in and to access to the web interface to config. The value point is a fate switch, but it can be managed by web UI independently. The third, this is more problem diagnose tools. The on-site problem diagnose. Engineer can use the special Windows troubleshooting tools to debug, and it supports to a single or batch modified port configuration. It supports to modify the managed VLAN to configure the IPv4 and IPv6 address. The value point for this one is you have many tools to use, and it's not difficult. It's friendly for our engineer and the customer. About the smart maintenance, we have 3 points. The first is terminal fast connected. So this part you can approve the non-smart switch. You can batch approve the non-smart terminal connect to the devices. And for the smart terminal, you need let it to authenticate. The second is more visible. It's the multi-dimensional visible interface. For example, the IP address port, the smart network tutelage, the visible panel interface, the network quality analysis. All of this will be visible in the web interface. It can show you more information. And the third one is the remote deployment and the troubleshooting. With the remote web interface, remote config, and multi-dimensional alarm. You can, with this one, you can remote diagnose and to solve the problem. The first one is terminal batch access approval. As we know, in the network, there are so many non-smart devices. For example, the printer, the VoIP or some or the camera, so many terminals. They are non-smart devices, but they also need the internet. So how we um, to allow them to connect? We can use the batch approve the non-smart devices, and each devices will be show the IP address, the bounding, the mark, and the terminal type. What kind of devices it is? It's a camera or it's VoIP or it's a printer. We can identify the terminal type and and the location, which part it connected, and the time when it connected. For the smart devices, we like it to make the authenticate. For example, the laptop or the desktop or the mobile phone. It's smart, and then we can like it to do the authenticate. Next is wireless and wired authentication. As we know, usually we connect to we connected to the Wi-Fi, and then we need to make the authentication. But what about the wired connection? Um for example, uh, in some office, they also have some desktop, and it need connect to the switch with the cable. But you just allow it to connect, or what's the security? Maybe this just spread some virus, right? So we also need to make the wild authentication. With the wild authentication, the devices connected to the switch with the cable, and they need to authenticate again. They need to authenticate. Just the same with the mobile phone connect to the Wi-Fi. They need to input the password, the account, or the send the SMS code to authenticate. After the authentication, they get the role. As we know, we use the role to manage our network to make the uh, access control. So we assign the role after the terminal authenticates successfully. We assign the role to the devices, and with the devices with different role will get the different permission. About the access control, it's the same with the wireless access control. We just need to configure the policy, the access control policy, the bandwidth policy, the audit policy, or the quota policy. It's the same with the wild policy, wild access control policy is the same with the wireless access control policy. For the visible IP port, it's efficient and IP address management. For the traditional IP address management, just like the photo in the left side, you need to show IP DHCP binding, right? And then there is a list. You need to check which IP address already be used, which still not be used. And you need to configure the independent DHCP management platform if you want to uh, improve the efficiency. But with the independent DHCP management platform, the cost will be high, and you need to learn how to use it. It's not easy. So with Sundray, okay, we have the visible IP port. Okay, from this picture, you can see that um, the blue the blue one it's the IP address already be assigned, and the white the blank one it's not it's unassigned, and it will also show you the IP port range from which IP address to which IP address, and the address port usage, and the release date, how long the IP address will be released. So with this visible IP port, we can know the IP conflict, the terminal to record the IP conflict event, and then to record the IP address allocation history and how many times it be assigned to this terminal. And also this well this visible IP port will to record every IP address, release time, and usage details. So you can know more detail about the IP address, uh, about the history, it's assigned to which devices, and the release time, and whether it has the IP conflict event. So all of this information you can know. For the smart meetings, the smart network topology will also help. As we said, you can discover and approve the devices in the topology map. You also can config and to maintenance your network just in this map. More visible of the whole network topology, and easy and efficient to manage the further management to discover, approve, config, and maintenance. With this map, uh, the whole network topology should be shown here. This part is about the visible panel interface. So when you go to the switch management center, you will see this interface, right? With this interface, you will know which devices, which switch online, which are offline, and which port connected, what's the status of each port. So you can get much more information than the traditional way. Also, with the terminal identify function, the smart switch will know the terminal type which connected to the devices. Next is switch business intelligence. So with the controller, it will help to help the switch to analyze the whole network and then to give you a report. The report will be from four-dimensional, from the controller, from the switch, and from the port or the user. And there are more than 30 more indexes in the report. For example, like package analyze, like the network quality, like the resources usage, the traffic load. So just to help you to know more detail about the quality of the network. This part is about the next part is about the high security. So it can allow for the multiple scenario, it can allow the devices to access or deny the access to the. This is the first part to make the network more secure. The second part is about the traffic. For the intranet, the traffic dynamic perception. The third part is about the linkage of Stanford security identify platform. As we know, the Stanford brands they are more focused on the cloud, on the security. So we can linkage with their security platform to make our intra network more secure. The first feature of high security it's endpoint security. So we can config in the switch management center. So for example, the attack detection. When the before there is a, I just give an example. Before there is a camera, they connect to the switch. The PoE switch need to power supply for the camera, right? But sometimes you want some hackers, they just replace the laptop or the desktop with the camera. They connect it, but the switch will but the terminal connected without PoE. They don't need PoE. After the smart switch detects this behavior, he will auto block the switch port. Because before these ports provide PoE for the camera, but actually now you connect another devices and it no need the PoE. So I just block this port and wait for the administrator to confirm. For the auto maintenance, so when the switch, the smart switch will also to detect the traffic of each port. When there is no traffic in this port, it will auto restart this switch port. For example, sometimes it connects to the camera, but actually there is no video. So at this time, the switch will detect that there is no traffic in this port. So he restarts this switch port. The next part is about the network sites statistics. As I said, the smart switch can identify the terminal type, so it can help the administrator to statistics the sites in the network. How many laptop we have in the network? How many camera? How many printer? How many access points? How many VoIP in the network? With this function, we can know the type distribution, and also it will to tell you the abnormal terminal, which terminal is abnormal, and then you need to check, right? Different so in the right in the right part there is four features. The first is aside statics. This is the terminal identification and the different type device distribution, also to identify the terminal type, the abnormal terminal display, which one is not working correctly, and you need to check. It will alarm you there is a problem, and also it will record the terminal access paths. For example, in some shopping mall, you connect the user, they connect to the access point, and then when he roam into another devices, the MAC address of the access point will be changed. So they will record this access path. Uh, the next is east-west traffic security protection. For the Actually, there is some definition of the traffic. The east-west traffic, this is as the internal from the server to the server, and the west-north traffic, this is from the user to the external server to the internet. So for the external uh, for the external traffic security, we just need to use the firewall, right? Use the firewall to prevent the attention from the external network. But for the internal network, we need to protect the east-west traffic security. For the east-west traffic security protection, actually, Sundray, we divided the devices into different area. For example, we create the protected area, and the devices in the protected area can only allow to access to the other terminal. The devices from the other area cannot access to the devices in the protected area. And for the trust area, uh, the terminal in this area will trust all the access of the other terminal. Uh, let's look at the picture. The finance team, it's in the protected area, and the devices from the other area, for example, the laptop, it want to access to the finance desktop, but it cannot access. The connection refused. And the printer, this one is in the trust area. So the other area, for example, the protected area, we want to access to the trust area. And the laptop, the desktop, they want to access to the trust area. And all this access will be allowed. The second is about the antivirus. Actually, before there are some famous virus, for example, like Deep Blue virus. This one usually use 445 ports. They just scan for the Windows devices, which enable the file sharing port, and then to insert the program, such as the ransomware to the computer, to stolen the information. So Sundry just block the 445 port, and these firewalls will not work. Uh, so actually, in the Sundry controller, we have a various ports database, and then if we enable the 1K block special ports, so some common ports, some usually used for the other variables, the ports will be blocked, and the variables will be also be blocked. The next part is Sundry East-West Traffic Security 2.0. Actually, this is a new version East-West Traffic Security. We have made some in progress in this version. Before, we cannot to locate the abnormal terminal, but now we can. The smart switch will detect which devices is abnormal, and then to locate the abnormal terminal and to block it. The second is it can identify and intercept the risk behavior. So it will also it will always to detect the network whether there is some more risk behavior in the network. So if the controller find it, it will to intercept the risk behavior. Also, it will to record the access behavior. All the access behavior will be recorded. So later, if there is some problem, then the administrator they can trace back the failure, and with the record they can find what caused this problem. For the next part, it's the security linkage. As we know, the Sun 4 it's focused on the cloud and security. The security part it's their core advantage. And for Sundray part, we are focusing on the network, on the wireless and the wired connection. So we can deep integration. our Sundray devices can uh, collect the can use our access point, our switch, and the controller to collect the information and to analyze. For example, the smart switch data collection and the user authentication information and our east-west traffic characteristic. The controller the controller platform when it gets this information, it can make an analyze. And for the secure part, we can combine with some for devices with the security identify platform. Um, when some for system detect some risk behavior or some worm attack or some other problem, it will tell us which terminal has a problem, and the controller and sundry devices will to execute this action. For example, the security identify platform finds that the terminal A has some problem. It's a risk terminal and need to block it. And this command will be sent to the Sundray devices. And then Sundray will use the controller to block the terminal A. So with this linkage, the whole network will become more secure. Okay, so let's make a summary. Which function Sundray can help to keep the business going on, even though now in the corona virus situation. The first is the fast deployment. We don't need to go on site to deployment, and we can use the multiple methods to remote config. So also the easy deployment and installation will greatly to reduce the deployment period. The second part is smart maintenance. The multiple configuration methods and batch approve and config. Also with the access control policy, with the batch approval, and the multiple visible interface. Just like the smart network topology, like the IP visible IP port. So all of this can help the engineer to maintain the network more easily and more fast. The third part is about the high security. With the security linkage with the some identify platform, we can make the network more secure. Also, with the switch, with the switch east-west traffic security, we can locate the abnormal devices, and we can active identify and intercept the risk behavior. Also help the customer to trace back the failure just by the access records. For the convenience, it's multiple maintenance tools and remote status view.
Parang gusto mo daw umuga ng bagang niya sa hirap
So with all of this,
Kasi Chinese to eh. Ang hirap talaga. Sabi ko nga sa'yo, di ba?
with all of this, we can make the network, make the maintenance, make the security part more powerful.
Sakit sa ulo.
The finally, it's about the Sundray Smart Switch. It's some successful cases. Actually, for now, we have already make some money projects overseas. So this is just this is just some projects we have already done, but it's not all. Yeah. As we know, from the successful cases, we all have already do the project for governments, for the education, some university, or for the healthcare, the hospital, or for tourism, the hotel, and for different industrial can use our Sundray Smart Switch. Um, Actually, today my part is already finished. Um, Actually, for the tomorrow practical training is about Sundray Smart Switch networking design, and also later we will make a video for this product training, and then we upload it to the YouTube. So welcome to see the video again and to subscribe our YouTube channel, Sundray.